Hello, mixtresses and mixters. This is Mixtress Ray. You're watching Mixtress Video. Today I'm going to do a kind of a special, I think it's special anyway, pick a card reading. We're going to focus on, I'm going to pick all the cards on camera with you guys, and I'm going to focus on the concept of fear. We're going to call on the goddess Kali, and we're going to focus on fear and overcoming fear and pushing through that fear, particularly in the place that I'm coming from is kind of gearing towards, I'm American, and our election to elect hopefully a totally new president. We're up to that point where we're about a year out from that election. So things are going to get really tense in our political climate, as if they haven't. I mean, essentially, they have been tense in our political climate since 2016. We all, as humans, deal with the concept of fear, facing fear. We face fear every single day. And it's something that in our society, the way that it's set up in this super overstimulating way, we tend to kind of give into that fear. Fear can be a good motivator, but once it starts to control you, it takes over. So these readings, these pick a card readings, are going to be based upon how we can dive into our fear and subvert it and heal from it and move into it. And Kali is all about that. So basically, I'm not using any of the decks in the pick a card reading that you see these images representing Kali. This is Kali from the Oracle of Shadows and Light. This is Kali from Yogic Path Oracle. And this is Kali from the Goddess Oracle. So I'm thinking of this as a collective reading for all of us. So if you feel called to watch the whole video, I would encourage you to do so. However, if one of these piles calls to you more than another, then focus on that as a more personal reading for you. One thing I really want to call in before we get started, before I explain to you what these piles have in them and how I've chosen to organize them, and before I just get started shuffling the cards and all of that, I wanted to explain the two things that I want to call in right now. Not only do I want us to find a way through these cards to help move through our fear, as a society, as a collective, there's that whole concept of choosing between fear and love. It's a constant process. We have to really concentrate on choosing love on a daily basis. And this reading, I am hoping, will help us focus on how we can move through fear and choose love. So I'm going to call upon, and the other aspect of it, I want us to move through fear, but I also want to call upon protection. So I brought out this black spell candle here, and I'm going to light it. And as with any other spell candle, the way that I do my candle magic is that I will burn it until it burns completely out. I always choose a spell candle for my clients as well. So if you would like a reading from me, I will be doing a spell candle for you as well, because I just like to call in that candle magic. I'm all about the candle magic. But let's go ahead, and I'm going to light the incense in our candles. So I'm going to light the spell candle first. Let's take some deep breaths. We call upon Kali today on this rainy October day of 2019. But this is going to be a timeless reading. We call upon Kali today for protection, for safety, as we move through the coming months, year, decade, as we move through our fears, as we learn to face our fears. In perfect love and perfect trust. let's get started. Okay, so I'm gonna sit down now and I'm gonna let you know how I organize these piles. So I did take a ritual bath just before getting started today, and I did what I call a shuffle, a tarot shuffle. So I have an iPod that, and this is by accident. I have to admit, this is by total accident. I noticed today I have an iPod that it doesn't have a battery, so I basically just have like my very favorite albums on it, and I keep it plugged in on my nightstand. But I listened to it in the bath today, and I decided to shuffle all the music that was on it. And by total accident, there are 78 songs on that iPod. So I was like, wow, this is not only, I mean, I always call it a tarot shuffle whenever I decide to shuffle with intention my music. But it seemed perfect. It seemed extra meaningful today to have a tarot shuffle with actually 78 songs on my iPod. So these are the songs that came through for you. Like basically when you choose one of these piles, you can choose in any way you want. Choose based upon which crystal you like the best, which crystal is calling to you. I have smoky quartz on pile 1, amethyst on pile 2, and fire agate on pile 3. I believe it's fire agate. I get it and carnelian mixed up, but it's not quite the same hue as carnelian. Yeah, because this is carnelian. This is different. Okay. You can choose based upon the image of Kali that is most calling to you. You can choose by the song, if you know any of these songs and they're calling to you. While I was in my ritual bath, these are the songs that came up as wanting to work with each of these piles. And you can pick based on, I have all kinds of systems going with these piles today. This pile is, the decks that I'm using in this pile are Messenger Oracle, Oracle of the Dragon Fae, and Shadowscapes Tarot. And this is, basically I decided to do, we're consulting the fairies, the wild unknown, and the vampires. So as above, so below. Or you can think of it as upper world, middle world, lower world. The way that I've decided to call upon how we're going to deal with fear and how we're going to move through fear in our lives is through these energies. So again, pile 2, the decks I'm using are all 3 wild unknown decks. I have Kim Kranz's New Archetypes Oracle. I have her Animal Spirit Oracle and her Wild Unknown Tarot. In the Consulting the Vampires, or So Below, pile 3 over here, we're consulting the Dark Angels Tarot, Lay Vampires Oracle, and Halloween Oracle. So I'm going to shuffle these on camera, like I said. Let's do a couple more deep breaths. So we have called in earth with the crystals, fire with the candles, air with the incense, but I just realized we don't have a water element. So I'm going to get out my Florida water and spray it around a little bit. And I'm going to shuffle these on camera, so they might be, this might be a very long video. Of course, you can tell how long it is right now. I'm going to take away piles 1 or 2 and 3 so we can concentrate on our first pile, which is we're going to consult the fairies as above. Consulting the fairies, Fae energy for this first pile. Okay, now I have to decide how I'm going to set this up. I want you to be able to see your song choice throughout. And this concept of shadow boxer was really powerful to me as we were, let's see, we'll move this towards the center. Maybe put Kali over here. So it says, I am Kali, from death comes rebirth. So this particular reading is going to be, I assume, no, we haven't pulled the cards yet, but I assume it's going to be a little bit more focused on clearing out the things that don't serve and rebirth in ourselves. So if you chose this pile, I would say, and of course we don't know yet, according to like, let me just start shuffling while I'm talking. We don't know yet necessarily what we're going to pull. Oh, I forgot I have a fluorite that I keep in this bag, so we might as well get that baby out too, so she can hang out for the reading. So I'm just going to shuffle while I talk. So one of the big aspects of Kali is, you know, she's kind of the tower card. She's kind of who comes in and says, look, you haven't been dealing with this thing, so I'm going to deal with it for you. Like the job that you have been needing to quit for years. Kali's going to come in and she's going to get you fired because, you know, you didn't act, so the action has now been taken for you. So my instinct is to say this first pile is what we're dealing with. You know, if you think about sort of the song Shadow Boxer, a very powerful concept, because that really is all about fear, because she's waiting to be victimized. She is boxing the shadow. She's waiting for, you know, this energy to come through. She's waiting for someone to come and take advantage of her at any second. She's scared. And how many of us as adults, I mean, I know I have just like learned how to be scared as an adult. You know, like when we're younger, we don't concentrate on fear as much. We just experience life and jump in head first. And that's not our story. And the older we get, the more we learn how to fear. And that's when we start shadow boxing. And unfortunately, for a lot of us, for a lot of you watching, we had to learn that fear at an unnaturally young age. And we're still moving through it. I mean, many of us have health problems because of our fear and anxiety. I mean, there are circumstances in which fear is going to be coming through for us. Especially, you know, again, like I'm talking about the political climate situation. Okay, this one kind of wants to come through too. I didn't want to have this many cards. Okay, but they're already there. They're already there. So we'll pull like one Dragon Fae card. How about that? I wasn't meaning. I was going to just pull like one or two of the Messenger Oracle, but she really wanted to come through. She really has something to say. So we've got a lot of energy going for you. I would say really lean into, when you're talking about music, think back to music and culture. Think back to, if you're a person that likes horror movies, that's a great way to face fear in our society. Okay. All right. Oh, this is kind of exciting. I haven't done the pick a card reading while I pick the cards on camera before, so this is kind of fun. Oh, you guys can't see the flame on this candle, can you? I want you to see it. There we go. Okay, let's get into it. So, Kali, what are your messages for group number 1? What are the Fae messages for us today? Can we see all these cards? I guess I have to stand up and make sure they're all in here. We're going to turn Dragon Fae over first. The Lovers. It's funny because I literally, like, I'm going to go ahead and confess to you guys, this deck came in less than 3 hours ago. Came to my house less than 3 hours ago. So I have not had a chance to consult the guidebook yet, but I just really wanted to use it for the reading today. I get really good vibes from it immediately. This particular card, however, is my least favorite card in the deck. So talk about facing fears. This card for me personally, and maybe you feel the same, evokes in me, and I'm going to have to read these cards completely intuitively again because I have not had a chance to look at the guidebook yet for Oracle of the Dragon Fae. But this card immediately evokes fear in me. Seeing a heteronormative relationship depicted has always kind of bugged me because I personally have a lot of, let's see, sexual trauma, I guess is the way to say it. And seeing heteronormativity, even just seeing men in tarot and oracle decks has been a struggle for me all year. It's been a fear that I've been facing all year. And for me, this image is triggering because we see a man sort of, this probably is not supposed to be seen this way, but it is, to me, a man sort of lording over a woman. And he has his hand on her shoulder, which to me feels like a controlling gesture. But I know that's not the way that this card is supposed to be about actual love. But just as a focal point, putting Oracle of the Dragon Fae, this Lover's card, this is my least favorite card in that entire deck. This is one that, like, I had initially thought when I first was going through the cards about 2 hours ago, I might take it out. I may not even use it. So this is a pretty clear message to me, just personally, that I need to work with this energy, that this is a fear that I need to face. So that's pretty powerful already. I already know that, ugh, I get chills already thinking about this. Okay, and our messages from the Messenger Oracle are going to be a little clearer. So we have seek the lesson, see the signs, and show that you care. So here's a concept that is, make sure you guys can see. I want you to be able to see everything. Okay, here we go. Now you can. So this is a concept, sort of the concept of how much do you have to care? How much do you have to give a shit? When it comes to situations such as, in our society, there's a lot of pressure to stay up to date on the news. And this is something that I want to stress to anyone that is going through this particular situation, where you feel like you feel obligated to pay attention to the news because you need to know what's going on. But if it is causing you more harm than good, there's nuance in this life that is, it's hard for society as a whole to teach how to deal with nuance. We were not really taught that. We were not really taught that there is something more than the binary. But there is something more than the binary. Choosing love over fear is a choice every day. And if there's, just like with anything else, it's not binary. It's not fear over here, love over here. There are infinite little ticks in between those two things. We need a little bit of fear. We need a little bit of paying attention to things that are uncomfortable to show that we care. But it's also very important to we can't be paralyzed by fear. And if watching the news every night or every day, like the way that our news cycle works now, it's like we know what's going on every single second. And if paying attention to it all the time is causing you more harm than good, it's up to you to really figure out what your balance is. Look around you. Pay attention to the signs within yourself, within everyone else. Really focus on what is your truth and what you make sure that the people around you know that you do give a shit, but you have boundaries. Find the lesson within the signs, as long as your motivation is love each other and show that you care. Those are your two big messages. Show that you care and love each other. This is how you interrelate, so that you're not just boxing those shadows. Let's see what the tarot has to say. 5 of Swords, the Magician, and the High Priestess. Wow. Okay. So there's a lot of magic within you. What needs to die in you for you to lift the veil, because I feel like as soon as you lift that veil, you're going to be able to, as above, so below. You're going to be able to show that you care. You're going to be able to show your love very clearly. You're going to be able to recognize the signs and communicate them to others. And there's also going to be a little bit of discerning here. Like, you're going to be able to create the magic for the people that you love and yourself. That includes yourself in this. You're going to be able to see those signs and interpret them as the High Priestess. But you're also going to have to learn as the High Priestess what to keep close to you and what to reveal, because you have the real potential to be a teacher here. You have the capacity to really, I'm getting a very like earthy, watery goddess energy going on here. But you're going to have to deal with a little bit of self-sabotage before you can get there. I mean, this is your fear right here. 5 of Swords is all about self-sabotage. It's all about like doing the wrong thing. You know that there's something that, I feel like it's a little thing too. There's some kind of superficial conflict in your world that is mostly in your mind, that if you can clear that, you will immediately start, the lesson will come through. And you'll start seeing the signs and you'll be able to convey them. But you're going to have to learn what you can say and what you can't say. Because you also have to be wary, once you face your own fears, you have to be wary of how much of these fears you're going to communicate to others accidentally. Once you've faced your own, know that, okay, there was a, let's see, in the Dreams of Gaia Tarot, there's in the guidebook for 5 of Swords, it said the coolest thing. It was something like, once you've taken off your own mask and faced all of your own fears, essentially, honor when you notice others around you are still wearing their masks, honor that they are. It's one thing that's really hard to do, especially when we're like talking about political situations, we're talking about hanging out with our families, we're heading into the Thanksgiving season for anybody that celebrates that, Thanksgiving and other holidays, Christmas and all that stuff. We're going to be hanging out with our families more, a lot of us. And that can bring up a lot of fear. That can bring up so much fear. And you want your family to know that you love them, but you're going to also have to set boundaries with them. It's okay to say, look, we can't talk about this. Because if you can't talk about it from a place of love, then maybe don't talk about it at all. So there's like this, there's this aspect that it might be time for you to recognize that other people have their masks and they're not ready to take them off yet. And they may very well be people that you love. And that doesn't mean that you don't love them, but recognize where they are in their truth. And you have the capacity to possibly change their mind, but it has to be done through love and gentleness. And there are going to be times where you're going to have to just say no to even talking about it at all. So yeah, this is really cool. This is a great reading for you guys. You're so powerful. Whoever picked this pile, you you're there. You're the magician and the high priestess. You've got everything it takes to be the magical, ethereal being that can make change. And this could even be, if you feel like you have a soulmate in this life, the two of you together could be the magician and the high priestess. These energies are coming together, but there's still going to be some boundaries that need to be set, because for you to really show that you care about someone, it's not unconditional love. Doesn't mean you have no boundaries, and that's something to remember. Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, so that is the reading for pile number 1. Let's do pile number 2. So pile number 2, we're consulting the wild unknown. We're consulting the animals of the earth and all of the middle world creatures today. Let me get out the cards on yours first. It seems like the right choice. Excited to use Kim Cran's New Archetypes Oracle, which I got so lucky. If you want, I have an unboxing of this on my channel that I posted a few days ago. I got this deck like 4 days before it was supposed to come out. Isn't that great? Okay, I'm going to set this aside. We're going to do the tarot first. So the fact that you were drawn to this deck, or to this pile, I think means we're taking a more practical approach to fear. The wild unknown, Kim Krans is an artist that she deals in practical very well. Her animals are all real animals that you see in nature. As we will see in both her tarot deck and her animal spirit deck. And her archetypes deck, she used, this one here, she used collage and watercolor. So just an example. She used collage, watercolor, and pen and ink. And by collage, she actually cut out real images and pasted them. All of her decks are done with watercolor, pen and ink, and this one also with collage. She works in the natural world. You know, she's not doing her art on computers. Like, I'm sure she has used computers. Oops. Almost turned that one over prematurely. In some way to reproduce her art and all of that stuff. But see, maybe we can put this like kind of like that. Okay. But this is a very grounded, we're going to have a very grounded reading. So how are we going to, this is a very practical, like, we're going to deal with fear. How are we going to do it? How are we going to do it naturally? Okay. All right. Yeah, you can see everything. This is good. Oh, I gotta say, I can't remember like what the guidebook says about the beaver. So this one I might just leave up to your interpretation. I don't have any particular associations with beaver in my own life. Let's see, let's think about the beaver in general for a second. This is a water symbol. The beaver creates their dwelling in water. Pretty innovative and miraculous. They're creating, and I don't know anything about beavers. I'm sorry, guys, but I would assume that since they're creating their dwellings out of like sticks and things that they find next to the river and things like that, I would assume that their domains are constantly getting destroyed by the elements, by the rushing water, and then they have to rebuild. So they're definitely very practical, I would say. They're getting in there with their teeth and their claws and they're building shit. And yeah, I would say you're very industrious. I would say you're ready to get in there and be scrappy and really face those fears. And just like a little note, whenever I was doing my ritual bath, and the two songs that came through for you guys were Wandering Star and Sour Times, both by Portishead from their album Dummy. And one of the lyrics in Wandering Star is, "Wandering star, for whom it is reserved, the blackness, the darkness, the river." So for you, I think there's going to be a lot of reconnecting to the elements. You know, go outside and see what the river has to tell you. See what the forest has to tell you about your fear. And that is something that is very practical. Like whenever you're freaking out, if you just put your phone down, go outside and focus on something. Like today, I was kind of feeling overwhelmed. I'm on vacation right now. And it's a good overwhelmed because I have all these things on my to-do list and I have all this time. But I have so many things that I want to do that it's like I don't have enough time to do them. And I get so excited that it's like I almost get paralyzed. And today I was sitting in my chair looking out the window and I had just finished reading a book, which is one of the things on my to-do list. I actually have a list right over there. And one of the things on the list is finish a damn book. So I was able to check that off today. But anyway, I had just finished the damn book and I had set it down and I was just kind of glancing out the window trying to decide, like, I knew I wanted to do this reading today. I knew I wanted to do my ritual bath. I knew I wanted to do laundry and blah, 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 blah. And just thinking about all the things that I want to do. And I noticed this cat across the street. She's a cat that hangs out in the neighborhood. She's a very loving cat. She just like jumps up in your lap and she's great. And I just noticed her in the neighbor's yard and she was just walking around kind of prowling and she climbed up on the neighbor's fence. And I just realized that getting sucked into watching this cat for like 2 minutes of my life reset me. And my Michael yesterday was talking about something similar to this. He was kind of having a super anxious moment, kind of getting panicky. And he went outside, sat on the porch, and looked up at the stars. And it totally reset him. And that is something that all of us can take advantage of. Reconnecting to nature, to the earth, to the middle world can always help us through our fear. So we've got the Kiss and the Lover. Wow! Lovers was a card in the last reading. So that's from the Archetypes deck. Oh my God. 3 of Cups, 10 of Cups, and Strength. A lot of water energy. Ah, that's awesome. So really, the only thing here that is not strictly water energy, of course, we've got Kali, which is more fire, and then Strength, which is fire, because it's Leo energy. Wandering Star and Sour Times. Sour Times, the lyrics in Sour Times are, nobody loves me, it's true, not like you do. And I feel like that is definitely significant when we see the Kiss and the Lover. And we've got the Beaver. So there's somebody, either you are this beaver, you're this industrial, like rebuild it when it falls apart kind of person. Or the person that, and I don't know necessarily that what we're talking about here, I feel like it's not just like a couple energy. You are a lover. You pull this to you. You have a sense of community in your life. The Ten of Cups is all about harmonious family. The Three of Cups is all about like that sort of goddess image, um, goddess imagery of like, you know, maiden, mother, and crone, like the sacred coven. I feel like you're the one in your community that really brings everybody together. You are the strength that calms the fear in. So I think your way through fear and anxiety is through helping others. I feel like you, if you're not already doing this, find a way to get in there and show your love to your community. And this might even be a situation where you and your partner, if you do have sort of that special relationship in your life, whether you think of it as a soulmate or it's somebody that you're married to, or it's just, you know, like your roommate, like your best friend that you've lived with for 5 years, that like really gets you, whoever that person is that you just feel effortless connection with every time you're around them. Like even if you haven't seen them for years, like you instantly fall back in with them. That's the person that's going to help you through any fear and anxiety that you might be moving through in the next year. I mean, basically I'm doing this kind of as a yearly reading. We're facing fear, which is a pretty big deal right now in our political climate, because it's easy to get caught up in like, you know, something real shitty could happen at any moment because the people that are in charge of the laws that govern our land are deeply stupid and don't give a shit about those of us that are out here actually building our dams, building our domains in the river. You know, they don't give a shit about us. They don't give a shit about the scrappy ones that are making things happen, that are building the foundations of our land. They don't care about us. And that's something that it's very easy to fall into fear with. That's beautiful. So there's some serious love going on with you. Like I don't even feel like I have any warnings to give you. I feel like it's all there. I don't even see that you have a block. You know, you have the Lover, the Kiss, Three of Cups, Strength, and Ten of Cups. I feel like you already know how to face your fears and anxieties, and maybe your challenge is to figure out a way to share it with others. Because what you know about how you faced your own trauma, that's all in the past for you, but that information could be really helpful for people that are still going through some really awful shit. I feel like you can really, and we've got a waning moon here, or a waxing. If you're in the southern hemisphere, this would be the waxing moon. You've got a waning moon here though. So, and we're in the waning moon phase right now as I speak, because it is October 15th. So I feel like now is the time. Now is the time for you to show your coven, your family, your closest people that you care the most about. We got the show that you care card in the last pile too. So pile 2, you guys, group 2, you guys have what it takes to really spread that love. The group 1 was like priestess magic energy. This group 2, you are water and love. You are empress. You're like Beyonce up in here. Like you're ready to share that fertile love that you have within you. For some of you, it might even mean that you're thinking about bringing new members of your family into the world, and you definitely have what it takes. You have what it takes. This could even be your family of 3. Maybe you have your person and a child, or maybe you have 2 people in your life that are just like the 3 of you together are the perfect unit. And you guys have love, that you have a love within you that other people only dream about. So be compassionate to those that are dealing with situations that you have already dealt with 10 years ago. They may need your help, and you have the love to give for sure. You are the wandering star. I would even say there's travel involved in this too. Okay. I feel good about you. Both of these readings so far, wow. I feel really good about them. Okay, let's do our last group. I'm going to take a drink of water. Okay, now we're consulting the vampires. The ancients, our ancestors. This is really the shadow. This is the shadow work aspect here. We're really dealing with shadow work in this. I haven't pulled the cards yet, but I think we're going to be dealing with shadow work here. Okay, I'm using the Dark Angels deck. And this is just kind of a cheesy like vampire deck. It has a very like 90s goth feel to me, even though it was not created in the 90s. Which is going to soften the blow, because I know we're going to kind of have some harder messages in this particular. I can feel it already. Because the song that came through for you, Cold by The Cure. Ice in my eyes, eyes like ice don't move. Let's see. Let's see. The first lyrics in the song, I'm just going to go ahead and like speak them as if they're poetry to you guys. Scarred, your back was turned, curled like an embryo. Ice in my eyes, and eyes like ice don't move. So I feel like out of all three of these groups, you may be sitting within the most paralyzing fear. You may even feel that your heart is paralyzed. It is frozen. Oh, I didn't even do this on purpose. All three of these decks that I picked for you guys, I have edged in black. So we really are going into shadow work today. Consulting the vampires. We're consulting our ancients, our ancestors, the dead today. We're really getting in there and asking the tough questions, because the fear that you're moving through right now, the anxiety, it's really controlling you at this point. I can feel that already. I thought that one wanted to come out, but it didn't. Gotta get these cards moving a little bit more. They're not ready. They're not ready to give you your answer. They don't know how to tell you what you need to hear right now. So let's keep going. Keep shuffling. Okay. I like this one. Just wanted to come through. I know this card's a little bit bigger than the other cards I've been working with today. So I feel like we're not going to get it completely on camera. Let's just move this incense burner up a little bit, and then we can get everybody on camera. There we go. Okay. Okay. Ooh. Just threw all the cards on the floor. Okay. Can't decide. I think I'm just going to pick the one Lay Vampires card. And then probably two from Halloween Oracle. Halloween, oh, there it is. I was going to show this card at the beginning of the video and I couldn't find it. I was like, what did I do with it? Because this is one of the things that prompted me to get started. So I'm going to actually, that tells me that this card actually needs to be out for your reading. Because I couldn't find it when I thought I was going to have it out just in general for the reading. But it was the first thing when I opened that box. So that's definitely for you guys. Whatever your fear is right now, and I feel like you're definitely thinking of something right now. No doubt you are thinking of something specific right now. It's this one. I'm thinking of something specific right now, and it is an unnecessary fear. Like, the concept with this particular card is that a lot of people fear graveyards, but it's an unnecessary fear. There's no reason to fear graveyards. The dead love you. They want you to visit. It's not a bad energy in cemeteries and graveyards. So whatever it is that you're fearing right now, it needs to be broken through. And it's going to be the most difficult, possibly one of the most difficult things you've ever had to do. This particular fear is, like, I can feel it, like my breath. I can't take a full breath. You know, I feel like I'm in a panicky state just thinking about where you are right now. It's possible this entire reading is for you especially. So let's turn over the other cards. Hidden Talents, Night Song, Immortal, Consuming Family, Pressure of Peers. And then we've got Knight of Swords, High Priestess, and King of Pentacles. So what this tells me is that you have a lot more figured out than you think you do. The Knight of Swords is kind of, I think of it as the White Knight, the savior. I feel like you have already, or you're going to be rescued. And it's probably, you'll probably have to rescue yourself, but you have it in you. You know when to open that book. You have all the knowledge that you need within. And if you just quiet your mind long enough, you'll know exactly what you need to do. This is about trusting yourself, because you yourself are the High Priestess with hidden talents, and they're only hidden because you are choosing to hide them. And this King of Pentacles also tells me that you have everything you need. You have physically all the resources that you need. You have all of the knowledge within you. And you have the ability to not only be the White Knight for yourself, but possibly be the White Knight for others. But this tells me the consuming family and pressure of peers and the unnecessary fear and hidden talents tells me that what you really need to work through is letting go of whatever expectations you feel like others have on you. And this has like been an issue that's been coming up for me a lot. This idea that success is measured by, a lot of the time in our society, the way that we measure success is by how we perceive ourselves to be doing according to how we perceive others are perceiving us. And the hard truth of the matter is that others aren't fucking thinking about us at all. They're really not. People are not thinking about us. The fear that we're facing is almost always entirely unfounded and entirely within. We have taught ourselves to take on trauma in a really how do you say that word? Metastasizing? You know, in a really infectious, awful way. We surround, so a fearful event happens, a traumatic event happens, and our brains surround it with this intricate network of fear and like constricting energy that just holds us in. Like, one of the things that was taught to me after dealing with a traumatic event, I lost my home in a tornado. back in 2011. And one of the things that was taught to me whenever, this wasn't actually my therapist that said this, someone else's therapist told it to them and then they told it to me. But it was this concept that was very helpful. And I'm reminded of it now, so hopefully it can help one of you. Have you ever thought about how when you are scared and anxious, you kind of curl into yourself? And that goes back to your song here, Cold by The Cure. Curled like an embryo. This song is about fear in a lot of ways. You do that whenever you're fearful. You curl up into a ball. Your shoulders hunch and your arms, cross over your chest, and you become this tight little packed ball. And one of the things that was told to one of my friends by her therapist, after, because she had also lost her home in the tornado and was dealing with a lot of PTSD. It was just a really scary time. A natural disaster came in and chewed up my town. And it's something that I will always be dealing with in a lot of ways. But what the therapist told my friend was, one thing that will help you whenever you're in one of those panicky states: sit up straight. Push back your shoulders. Specifically, she said, take up space. Spread out your arms. Do the Wonder Woman stance, where you've got your feet, 2 or 3 feet apart, and put your hands on your hips and jut out your chest. Take up space. There's a reason why in our culture women are fearful and men are getting shit done, because men have been reinforced at every turn to take up space, and women are taught to make themselves smaller. This is not a fucking accident. You are the high priestess. You are allowed to take up all the space that you need. You can be that King of Pentacles, that High Priestess, and the Knight of Swords. All 3 of those entities are you. If you can move through your unnecessary fear and the pressure that you have from your family and friends, or the pressure that you perceive that you have from your family and friends, a lot of the time that pressure isn't even coming from them consciously. They may be putting it upon you unconsciously because of, like the bullshit that your parents taught you, because of the bullshit that the fears that, everybody's got those tumors of fear within them and anxiety that have been created over the years that we can't untangle from. And I feel like you're dealing with this more than anyone else, but it's unnecessary. It's unnecessary because once you can clear those fibers that are surrounding your heart, those fibers of fear that are surrounding your heart and preventing you from being your true high priestess self, whatever is preventing you from that. I mean, there's just so much here. Like if I were to look at this reading just by itself, I would think, yeah, you got something to overcome here, but all this is all good. King of Pentacles, High Priestess, Knight of Swords, you are in the act of saving yourself right now. You already know what to do. You already have everything within you that you need to get through what you're going through. You just don't, there's a self-confidence issue here. Why are you hiding your light? Who is telling you? Another song that's coming through for me right in the moment is Air's Don't Be Light. Who is telling you don't be light, don't be light? Tell them to fuck off. I'm going to write that down for you guys. I have a little fragment of paper somewhere. What did I do with it? I had it. There it is. Okay. For some reason, I didn't throw away this last little fragment of paper, and that's because I needed to write this down for you. So I want you to look up this song too. And it's like, I feel like there might even be somebody in your life right now. somebody, one of your peers or family members, that is actively sucking your energy away. Let's pull a clarifying card actually on that. I want to see, I'm going to consult. I knew I'd want to go back to the Lay Vampire Oracle, but I just didn't know why or when. I think it's this one right here. Outsider, Misfit, Loner, and Wanderer. Make sure that's all in there. Okay. There it is. There's your ball of fear. That is kind of what I was imagining. I was imagining like this, like the whole galaxy is within this ball, but it's crackling and it's being clutched by this sort of, I wouldn't necessarily call this the malevolent creature, but this is your fear. That is something that needs to be pointed out that I don't think I have yet in this particular reading. Your fear is not someone to not be friends with. Your fear needs to be befriended. If this is your fear creature holding on to this vast universe of potential, of hidden talents within you, the unnecessary part is the container. It's not her. You do need to face her, and you're going to have to be confrontational with her. You're going to have to face the... What are your associations when you see the words misfit, loner, and wanderer? Do you think of that as, do you feel like you are the misfit in your family or in your group of friends? Okay, I feel like maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. You, whatever particular group of friends or family or chosen family or whatever, your people, that your coworkers maybe even, the people that you're surrounding yourself with the most often in your life, through, you know, it might be a fault of their own, it might not. They might not be doing it on purpose. They might just be projecting their own fears onto you, but they are either on purpose or not telling you, don't be light, don't be light. They don't want you to shine. They don't want this whole galaxy to burst out, because then everyone will see all of your hidden talents. Everyone will fucking see that you're the High Priestess and the King of Pentacles and the Knight of Swords. You're trying to swoop in to save someone or yourself. You already know what you need to do, but you're not breaking through. You haven't broken this fucking ball yet. So you're going to have to confront the fear demon within you. You're going to have to confront these cute little snarling dragons. And it's not outside of your capability. You can do it. You can grab this orb and break it free, and then all the beautiful stars and galaxies and universes of your hidden talents and your magical powers as a high priestess and all of the resources that you hold within you are going to break open, and the light is going to shine through. But you're going to have to learn to move past this curled like an embryo, fear, cold as ice state that you're in right now. You're going to have to break it open. Your beautiful light and energy doesn't need to be contained. It needs to break free. Whatever pressure you're feeling from your coworkers, your family, your friends, whoever it is, recognize that they're acting within their own fear as well. And their fear doesn't have to become your fear. You're just like right there on the edge of breaking free. You're going to break free. I would say do a little bit more self-study, maybe journal if you're a person that journals, or record like little personal memos to yourself if you like to talk things out. Have some real conversations with yourself in whatever way you're most comfortable doing so. Because once you figure out what it is that you need to do to break that orb open and shine your light upon everyone, everything's going to come into place. I mean, it's already all there. You just have to break free. and take up space. So I'm excited for you, and I know that everything feels really scary right now, but you can get through it. Just break free. And of course, I don't like to say just break free because it's so much harder than that sounds. But you have it within you. You can be your own knight in shining armor. Okay, so that's the end of group 3. Let's just do a little space clearing for all of us here at the end. I'm just going to pull a card from the Messenger Oracle, just to kind of like, what's our message for all of us now that we've come back together at the end of this reading? What is our message for all of us as we move through the coming months of like spending more time with family, all the political bullshit that's going to be jumping into our consciousness? What is our message? What does the Messenger Oracle have to tell us about how we all have a responsibility to moving through our own fear? I kind of want to bring Kali back out too. Dropped a fluoride on the floor. So what is today? What do we need to do? What needs to die? And what needs to be reborn? So we're going to pull 2 cards here at the end for our Messenger Oracle. From our Messenger Oracle. What needs to die and what needs to be reborn? Okay. That's very simple and straightforward, isn't it? What needs to die? Focus and then act. So it's going to take intention. Whatever needs to die, we need to figure out what that is for each and every one of us. What is the core root of the unnecessary fear that we're all dealing with? Let's bring back that unnecessary fear card too. Sorry, I'm sifting through a bunch of cards over here. I found it, and I didn't make a mess doing so. Can you believe it? Can we see it? Almost. Okay, so what do we need to do to break through our unnecessary fear collectively? What needs to die and be reborn? Pretty simple. We just need to get ourselves through this moment because the new day is dawning. That is a very hopeful card to me because I, like a lot of us, feel very fearful of what's going on in the world. But getting through this really scary time means that things are going to be so much better for us once we get through it, once we break through to the other side. We're going to need to be warriors. We're going to need to vote. And, you know, if you're the type of person that can protest and call your representatives and whatever amount of action you can safely take without compromising your sanity, do so. At the very least, pay attention to what you need to do to vote. And in that way, you can be a warrior for all of us. It's time to be warriors. It's time to break through our fear. It's time to face our fear because it is unnecessary. I'm reminded of, I mean, it's the cheesiest thing ever, but the Serenity Prayer, you know? It's a very important thing. I don't know the exact thing, but it's basically, I don't even know the words of the Serenity Prayer, you guys. You know what I'm talking about, though. Being able to have the discernment of knowing the difference between the things that you can change and the things that you can't. You can't change to a certain extent. We don't have control over everything that goes on in our world. We can't. But we can choose to love each other. We can choose to be kind to each other every single moment. We have that choice we always have the choice to be kind and wonderful to each other. And the more wonderful we are to each other, the more likely those people will in turn be wonderful to other people. We can pass those smiles on as much as possible. And it may sound silly, but it really is important. We're heading into a much brighter time, even though it may not feel like it right now. You know, we're in the darkness and we're getting ready to go into battle. But that battle is going to start the cycle over, and the sun is going to rise, and we're going to get through it. So anyway, I hope you guys are having a great week. Thank you for this kind of super long, sort of weird, moving through fear, Kali energy pick a card reading today. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I want to show you guys real quick, if you want any readings from me, this is the link to my Etsy shop. And I would love, 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 love to do a reading for you guys. I just ripped this off of my wall because this is where the card was. But anyway, I hope that you guys have a great week, and I will see you in the next one.